live. News 8 at 5 starts now.
And now I ask that you greet the First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama.
New at 5 tonight, First Lady Michelle Obama right here in New Haven campaigning for Governor Dan Malloy. But first, we begin with breaking news tonight. 3 New Britain police officers have been injured trying to make an arrest. Hi, glad you're with us tonight. I'm Ann Craig.
I'm Darren Kramer. The officers were serving a warrant on Alexander Road when police say the suspect tried to get away. One officer was dragged by the suspect's car. Officers then opened fire and the suspect crashed.
We're told that the suspect then fought with police but was finally arrested. One officer, we're told, has a broken bone and is still hospitalized. The other 2 were treated for various injuries.
We're working right now to get you more on this story. When we do, we will bring it to you right here on News 8.
Well, now, of course, that other big story of the day, the First Lady and the Governor at Wilbur Cross High School in New Haven this afternoon.
Yeah, big crowd turned out there. The First Lady just wrapped up her speech a short time ago. Let's go live out to the school now. News 8's AJ Walker has been there since the First Lady arrived. AJ?
And Darren, it was a very excited crowd here today. As usually is the case with Mrs. Obama, there were more than 2,000 people who turned out to hear the First Lady speak, but she didn't waste any time getting right down to business. Her message was loud and clear, and that was to vote and vote for Governor Dan Malloy. In front of a packed auditorium and even also an overflow room of about 800 people, the First Lady reminded people that while in office, Governor Malloy has raised minimum wage. Crime is at its lowest it's been in decades. She talked about the governor creating some 60,000 jobs while in office.
So between now and November 4th, I want you to spend every single minute you have doing the groundwork, knocking on doors, finding your neighbors, making those phone calls for Dan Malloy. You do it. This is how it happens.
I only ask that you don't forget who I am on Election Day. I only ask that you do everything you can to turn out the vote. I only ask that you make sure every family member does in fact vote.
She also reminded the crowd of just how close this race is, and it was in the past. If you'll remember, Malloy only won by about 6,400 votes that separated he and Foley in that race 4 years ago. So this is a very tight race and continues to be. Now, a lot of heavy hitters turned out today, continuing to support Governor Malloy. Mayor Harp turned out, Senator Blumenthal was here, Lieutenant Governor Wyman, Mayor Finch of Bridgeport, just a lot of people here to support Governor Malloy. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll hear from the voters, the people who are out here in the community that will make those choices on Election Day. We'll also hear more from the First Lady. For now, live in New Haven, AJ Walker, News 8.
All right, AJ, we'll check back in with you in just a bit.
All right, AJ, thanks. No big public events today for challenger Republican Tom Foley in this very tight race. Coming up here tonight on News 8 at 5:30, we're going to have a look at Tom Foley's life and career. It is part 1 of our 2-day coverage of candidate biographies.
Foley's going to be busy on Monday. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie will be back again to campaign with Foley. This time, the 2 are going to be in Groton. Christie, as you've likely heard by now, had a vocal exchange last night with a heckler in New Jersey. We'll have more ahead on that coming up at 5:30. We're also going to sit down with both Governor Malloy and Tom Foley this Sunday morning. That's at 8 o'clock. It's that final roundtable discussion before Election Day. Be sure to join us for that, will you? Again, it's at 8 o'clock. We're going to have complete coverage of election night, and our special political contributor, Joe Lieberman, is going to be right here in studio with us for our coverage. That all starts Tuesday at 9 o'clock at night.
Now to a developing story we've been following here in New Haven. A pedestrian who was hit by a car has died from the injuries. The crash happened downtown at the intersection of Olive and Green. That's kind of a tight intersection if you've been down there. It has been the spot of crashes in the past. News 8's Josh Scheinblum is live at the scene tonight. Josh, what have you learned?
We're here right now at the intersection of Olive and Green Streets. In the short time that we've been here, we've seen that it is both heavily populated with both cars and pedestrians moving in and out of the lanes here. Not a far stretch to see why a woman was killed as she tried to cross the street earlier in the day. Now, our cameras were there shortly after this accident all happened. Accident reconstruction crews working to figure out the circumstances surrounding what took place here. Now, according to witnesses, it all happened shortly after 11 11 a.m. Officials with the New Haven Police Department tell us that that woman was transported to the hospital, but unfortunately died before 1 o'clock this afternoon. Now, the operator of the vehicle, they add, did not flee, and in their words, it appears, was not at fault and will most likely not be charged in connection with this incident. Now, those who were first on scene were neighbors, and they tell us that they immediately called 911, and they say that this is a place that has cars which often move very fast.
Well, I've been here for 3 years. I've never seen anybody get hit or anything. I mean, there's been some fender benders, but, you know, as for people getting struck, I've never heard of anybody getting, not in 3 years. And like I said, the crosswalk up there, people slow down for that, but they pick it up a little bit when they come down here.
The woman and the driver involved have still not been identified. Please stay with us here on News 8 as we continue to work to find out more details about this story. For now, we're live in New Haven. Josh Scheinblum, News 8.
New at 5 tonight, we're learning new information about the death of Hartford firefighter Kevin Bell. As we first told you last night, there are concerns about his breathing system. News 8's Stephanie Simone was at a news conference and just wrapped up just a short time ago. Stephanie?
And yeah, we just learned a few hours ago that severely injured firefighter Jason Martinez, he is now out of the hospital. So some good news there. But at that press conference, the Hartford Fire Department wanted to be very clear that this investigation is not complete and they do not know the exact cause of firefighter Kevin Bell's death.
598 Blue Hills Ave for structure fire.
You're listening to what investigators listen to, the dispatch tapes. These are those 10 seconds on Blue Hills Avenue. You can hear a faint mayday call while crews fight the flames. Then, seconds later, they're ordered out of the home.
Command all units. Command all units. Bail out. All units, come out of the building now.
The Hartford Fire Department and Fire Marshal's office stress this is still an open investigation, despite reports that firefighter Kevin Bell was low on air with his self-contained breathing apparatus, or SCBA.
To conclude that there was possibly something wrong with the SCBA, as I said, it needs to be investigated, and those conclusions haven't been made.
She says they still don't know what sparked the fire, and they're looking into all the procedures and equipment used that night, like the hydrant, fire engine, and water pumps. Multiple agencies are still investigating, including the National Institute of Occupation Safety and Health, who she says spoke to every firefighter on the scene.
We need to examine the totality of this incident, and we ask that you respect this process and refrain from drawing any unconfirmed conclusions.
All this after some good news for their department. 23 days after this tragedy, 29-year-old firefighter Jason Martinez is finally out of the Bridgeport Burn Center.
He is making progress every day, and he's going through his therapy. He's doing extremely well.
Now, the other two firefighters injured in that fire, firefighter Kevin Burke, he is actually back at work, and firefighter Colin McQueenie, he is not back at work. He's still resting at home. He has an injury to his head at this point. Now, they say it could be several months before we know the cause of the fire and the cause of death for firefighter Kevin Bell. We are live in Hartford. Stephanie Simone, News 8.
All right, Stephanie, thank you. Well, take a look at these. These are reported photos of a condo fire that happened this afternoon in Milford. The condo's owner suffered smoke inhalation and 2 pet cats there died. We're told that firefighters were able to save a 3rd cat. Now, this is the Glenwood complex. It's off of Greenview Lane. The cause of the fire is still under investigation.
We have been telling you about the drug state troopers are now carrying to help save people from drug overdoses. They used it yesterday and it worked. The drug is called Narcan. It counteracts narcotics and can bring people back from the brink of an overdose death. Last night, troopers from Troop in Montville got a call about a drug overdose in Griswold. They found a 40-year-old man in bad shape. They gave him that drug and he snapped right out of it, regained consciousness. They took him to the hospital and he should be fine. Troopers were trained to use Narcan just last month.
Caught on camera in broad daylight at a local park, we have exclusive video shot by the News 8 investigators that now has parents appalled.
Yeah, it looks like a quiet neighborhood park in that neighborhood, but you might want to think twice about where you step and the company you might encounter along the way. Police say it is a big problem. They've already busted a few people there, adults who go to that park. with kids couldn't believe the video that we showed them.
Imagine if a kid saw something like that.
Yeah, it's bad around here, but the cops do the best they can because it's hard to sit here 24 hours a day.
Tonight on News 8 at 11, we will show you what we found, the exclusive video you won't want to miss, and reaction from the city and police.
New at 5, a little girl is found wandering around alone in the middle of the night. Tina Detel is working to get answers.
This is the busy road the little girl crossed all by herself. And we'll speak with her father and the babysitter who's now charged. Coming up.
And we are taking a new look at a very cold case, talking to the sister of a woman who's been missing for decades. Hear why she still thinks there could be justice. That's on the way. But first, here's Erica Martin.
All right, so I'm tracking a couple of clouds developing from west to east and also tracking a major cool down. Details coming up in my full forecast. Back to you.
And take a look at this. 3 years ago this week. Does that look familiar? We're going to take a look back coming up. Now here's Keith.
And thank you. Here's what's coming your way tonight at 6. A new project slated to connect downtown New Haven with Union Train Station. It's not the first time this idea has been floated, so will it really be a go this time around? The story tonight at 6.
You're watching News 8 at 5.
This next story will have parents cringing. A toddler in Middletown found wandering the streets alone.
Well, thankfully, police found that little girl and they were able to piece together exactly what happened. Now the person in charge of watching her is facing charges. News 8's Tina Detel talks to the girl's dad and the babysitter.
This is the back door from where the little girl was able to get out of the house. Now she made her way down these stairs, through this parking lot, and then across that street. Are you feeling okay today? 2-year-old Haley is doing a lot better now. On Wednesday, she was found in just a t-shirt and diaper in front of this house on Warwick Street in Middletown.
Yeah, a little upset that it happened because, my daughter could have got hit by a car and killed.
Anthony Jaliff and his wife came home to find the 2-year-old with police across the street from their house. They don't blame his sister-in-law, who was watching her Wednesday. He says his brother stopped by and didn't shut the door all the way when he left.
She does know how to take her fingers and kind of open the door.
20-year-old Brianna Leonetti, who is charged with risk of injury to a child, tells News 8 she never would have left the little girl alone.
His brother had showed up, so when he showed up, I ran upstairs to go change my son, and as soon as I came back down, the baby was gone and his brother was gone. So I'm thinking that, the baby went for a walk with his brother, but I guess I was wrong.
Haley went for a walk by herself across this busy street.
I wouldn't have left her by herself. I knew somebody was downstairs, so I ran upstairs to go change him.
You don't trust her and everything. Yeah, it was just a big mistake.
I just want my life back. Yeah. For my son,
The little girl's parents may not believe that anything criminal happened here, but Leonetti will be in court next week. In Middletown, Tina Detel, News 8.
Toddlers are fast.
I'll tell you, that cute little bugger, wouldn't think she would get out of the house, know how to, but they can. They're
and
tricky.
Just to get down those stairs by herself is amazing.
Glad she's okay.
Thank goodness she's okay.
We'll be watching that and see how it all plays out. Let's go out and check the traffic now. Here's Jay Trelease. Jay?
Thank you, Darren. We've got some heavy traffic on 95 at the moment, northbound from exit 41 up through 48. Also a heavy flow of traffic from the Q Bridge down through 45. Traffic is slow coming up from Fairfield County. We've got delays really from exit 6 up through 26. Just some heavy volume. Not caused by any mishaps, just a lot of volume. Westbound 84 in Hartford is quite slow from exit 50 out to exit 44. And southbound 91 getting very busy from exit 36 down to I-84. Check out our real-time traffic cams anytime on WTNH.com. I'm Jay Trelease for News 8.
Well, when it comes to the weather on this Halloween week, we've gotten a week of treats. I mean, it has been gorgeous weather-wise.
Yeah, it really has. We saw temperatures in the 70s yesterday, the day before, and now we're tracking 40s for the weekend. The big story around here is won't we get that wintry weather? What about Saturday and Sunday? Lots of rain in the forecast, looking unsettled. But right now, our capital city, clouds developing across the state, a sign that we do have that low pressure system developing, and we have those clouds moving in from west to east. So satellite and radar image picking up on those developing developing clouds. Notice they're not very thick, not right now, but by tomorrow I expect developing clouds to mostly cloudy skies by later tomorrow. So of course I'll have more information on that on WXEdge.com. But right now, high temperatures for today were much cooler than we've been seeing. 59 in Windsor Loch, 61 in New Haven, Meriden at 58, and cooler in Oxford at 54 degrees. And tonight we're going to keep it in the 30s to low 40s. Northerlies 8 to 12 miles per hour. Current temperatures mainly in the 50s. We're going to keep it that way at least for tomorrow. But then by the weekend, that's off by one day. It should be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be off by one day there. We'll see Saturday temperatures in the 40s along with Sunday. So enjoy at least those 50s by tomorrow because a change is in the forecast by Saturday. Your satellite radar image picking up on those clouds developing from west to east. You can actually see that low developing across the mid-Atlantic. That will slide up and kind of parallel the shoreline here. And by Saturday, it does look like we will see some showers in the forecast. Hour by hour forecast starting this at 5 p.m. getting this going for you at least through Saturday. We start to see some developing clouds by tomorrow, so you can see a little bit of moisture getting kicked back just a little bit there. Certainly not going to be a washout. I do think it's going to be mainly dry for tomorrow evening, but then those clouds develop and those showers follow quickly overnight Friday into Saturday, and hour by hour picking up on a lot of rain, especially for the second half of Saturday overnight into early Sunday morning. So of course at this point we're talking about those really cool temperatures. Hour by hour pegs this as mainly rain, but I still think we could see some flurries, especially for towns higher up in elevation, and especially because we're talking about gusty northeasterly winds. So a blustery Saturday in the forecast, a high of 48 degrees, and on Sunday a really chilly start. AM wind chills only in the upper 20s, mid to upper 20s, so it's going to feel very cold, and in fact the entire day is going to be pretty cold all around with highs only topping out in the mid to upper 40s. Tomorrow looks good for trick-or-treaters. Temperatures in the 50s, northerlies 5 to 15 miles per hour. And here is your outdoor forecast. A little chillier to start tomorrow morning, upper 30s to low 40s, and then seeing 50s by lunchtime. 6 p.m. seeing a couple of clouds developing, but it still looks like it's going to be mainly dry. You have a great night, and of course your extended 8-day forecast looks cool for this weekend to say the least. Gusty Saturday into Sunday. Temperatures overnight in the 30s, and in fact 32 Sunday into Monday. That looks like the coldest night coming up, and then tracking some showers next Wednesday into Thursday, possibly hanging on until next Friday. So I still have that chance flurries, but mainly it's all about this major dip in those temperatures. And in fact, overnight I went 28 on Saturday and bumped this down on Sunday. 26 degrees is the overnight low. Log on to WXEdge.com. Wow.
That's a big dip.
Yes.
All right, Erica, thank you.
Of course. Erica, thank you. Well, we're running a great contest, a fall foliage contest. I mean, it's hard to resist taking pictures of those great leaves out there. And get this, the winner is going to get a GoPro camera. If you don't know what it is, that's the thing you can wear on your head and record video.
Yeah, it's a little extreme sports video camera. They're awesome. They're great.
It is awesome. So if you want to get involved, just tweet us or Facebook us your photos. Just use that hashtag WXEdge, or you can send them to reportit@WTNH.com. We've got all the details. You can find out all about it on WXEdge.com.
Pretty cool. All right, as we get ready for Halloween, meteorologist Sam Cantrell tonight reminds us how just 3 years ago we all got a real trick during that holiday.
Halloween, a holiday celebrated across the United States with parties, trick-or-treating, costumes, and candy. But only 3 years ago, we had the biggest trick of them all. That trick, for many in Connecticut, it was Halloween being canceled. Do you remember the sounds back on this date in 2011? Chainsaws, snowblowers, shovels, and kids playing in the, you guessed it, snow. No, it was not a pre-Halloween prank, with many people waking up on October 29th with over a foot of snow. 10 people died from the storm. Over 830,000 people were left without power in our state, and the snowfall totals are staggering. It was a strange fall already. Leaves were on the trees weeks after they typically begin to fall off. Temperatures were above average, and we saw lots of rain during the early part of fall. Combine those factors with winds to near 70 miles per hour, soaking wet ground, and over a foot of snow in parts of Connecticut, and the result was devastation. For some of the state, it took a few days for power to be restored, but some were still in the black for upwards of 11 days total. With no power for homes and streetlights, many towns were forced to cancel Halloween altogether or postpone it to a later date. Records were shattered from this storm. The state capital saw a foot of snow. Bakersville received over 18 inches, and even south of Connecticut at Central Park, they were blanketed with 3 inches of snow. This was the earliest major snowstorm on record in Connecticut. While snow in October is rare, looking outside at the 50s from today seems a little bit warmer with that winter season looming ever so closely. I'm meteorologist Sam Cantro, News 8.
What a year that was. Remember that?
Unbelievable. Oh, yeah. How do you forget that?
I'm trying to forget it ever since. I still can't. Listen, a new canine officer joining the force in Shelton. We're going to show you his official photo. Kind of cool. That's still to come here tonight on News 8.
Also ahead, a new treatment for a deadly form of breast cancer, and it's being done right here at home. We're going to talk to the cutting-edge doctors at Smilow Cancer Hospital.
Also, a different kind of flu vaccine has just been approved for widespread use. We'll tell you why it may do something. It may be something that you want to look into.
And next, what Frontier Communications is doing for customers now frustrated about those recent outages. We'll be right back.
Stocks had a nice gain today. New numbers showing some good national economic growth. The Dow Jones shot up on that news, 221, closing the day at 17,195. NASDAQ gained 16 and the S&P finished 12 higher. Frontier Communications trying to make good with customers who were ticked off over outages over the weekend. Some are saying what they're doing, though, is not enough. We first told you about this last night. Frontier now offering $50 credits on all customers' bills. Frontier says it will happen automatically. You don't have to do anything. Dozens and dozens of folks got a hold of us reporting their internet didn't work. When they made the switch, those folks from AT&T switched over to Frontier recently. Fewer than 10,000 customers were affected. That's what Frontier tells us tonight. We'll be watching.
Well, tonight, the Shelton Police Department has a new officer on the force, and he has 4 legs. Take a look. This is Stryker. You see him there? Good-looking dog. This is his new police picture. Now, he's set to go into training in February with his handler that you see there, Officer Dan Loris. Stryker is replacing Canine Jagger, who recently retired after a long career.
Talk to officers who use those dogs, what great tools they are. And these guys form great bonds with these dogs.
Incredible friendships, because the dogs usually live at home with them as well, so they're their buddy.
Very cool, new buddy. All right, just ahead here tonight on News 8 at 5:30. Less than a week now until Election Day. As we've been telling you, the race for governor could not be closer right now. News 8 taking a deeper look at the candidates. We're going to show you what Tom Foley is promising coming up. Plus,
we're going to get into a debate here today. It's going to get very interesting and very fun.
Well, of course, that's not all he had to say. You won't want to miss how New Jersey Governor Chris Christie handles that heckler.
And take a look at this. That is that nurse up in Maine who's supposed to be under a 21-day quarantine because of Ebola. She just busted out and went for a bike ride today. A lot of people are buzzing about that. We'll have the fallout and more when we come back.
Here's what's coming up tonight on News 8. Brought to you by Pilgrim Furniture City.